Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Do you see the two vehicles behind me? The Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness over there and the Subaru Outback Wilderness right here. Which one gets better gas mileage? Well, if you read the Subaru website, they will give you an answer, but let's do a test. And this is going to be the perfect test because I have the perfect opportunity here. I'm going to take both these vehicles to the dealer, which is 143 kilometers away from where I live. Don't make fun of me. I'm going to drive them there. They're going to do an oil change. They're going to check the tire pressure. They're going to do the maintenance. They're both brand new vehicles. And then we're going to drive back along the highway, 143 kilometers. And I'm going to do the Outback Wilderness first today. And then I'm going to do the Crosstrek Wilderness in a couple of days. Such is life for me. I'm going to do 600 kilometers that are unnecessary just to do this test for you. And we're going to do everything exactly the same. No weight in the vehicles, same tire pressure in the vehicles, full tank of gas from the same gas station, the same setting on the air conditioning, everything exactly the same. Hopefully the weather and the wind stays the same. And we're going to look at the results of highway driving with the Crosstrek Wilderness versus the Outback Wilderness. Leave your guess as to which one will get the best gas mileage in the comments before we do the test. So let's do the test. We're going to skip ahead to me in the Outback Wilderness first at the gas station, 143 kilometers from here. And then we're going to do the same thing with the Crosstrek Wilderness. May the best car win. Build it up to the first click. Never overfill. Once it clicks, you stop. And I'm using, cost me 57 bucks for 39 liters. $1.45.9, 87 octane. I'm going cheap, baby. Regular fuel, lowest octane. Your little car symbol, I believe, car. And then you go into cruise control acceleration. I'm gonna set that at eco, okay? This affects gas mileage a lot. If you pick a dynamic, it uses the most fuel. This just means how fast your car accelerates in cruise control. If you slow down for whatever reason, you got to get back up to your speed. So we're going to pick Econo there. And I think that's the only one, right? That's the setting. And now we're going to, on the trip, you see the numbers changing there? Let's clear trip A and clear trip B. Okay, so we're going to have it set at 0, and we're going to watch the liters. What is it here? The liters per 100 kilometers, right? It says I can go 890 kilometers now before I have to fill up based on my previous driving performance and efficiency. And I've got trip A at 0. We're going to drive from here back to my house. It's about 100 miles, 130 or 40 kilometers, approximately. And it's all highway. Just a few miles here in the city, and then it's highway, and then I'm going to cruise at the speed limit. I'm going to do that with both cars. We're going to drive it very gently. This car has a turbocharger, but I'm going to accelerate very slowly and just, like an old man out for a drive, which is what I am, okay? No performance driving, and see how good the fuel efficiency can be for this one. And then we're going to do it again with the Crosstrek in 2 days, and hopefully the weather and everything's the same, and we'll go through the same thing. So let me just start driving. I'm going to turn off the recording. And then we'll look at the statistics at the end of the drive. Okay guys, now we're on the highway and I've set the cruise control at 110 kilometers an hour, which is the speed limit here, which is about 65 miles an hour. We just left the city part of the driving, which was, a little less than 10 kilometers, and our average fuel so far is 9 liters per 100. And we're just gonna drive back about 100 and whatever kilometers at this speed in cruise control, and check out the statistics at the end of the video. Here we go. Just cruising easy on an afternoon day. It's plus 7 degrees outside. The weather's nice. The roads are dry. No wind. Hopefully it's the same when we do it for the Crosstrek. Okay guys, we just arrived. I have not turned the car off yet. And these are the final numbers. We did 143.3 kilometers. And we averaged 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers. My car says I still have another, 680 kilometers I can go. And that's highway driving, pretty much at 110 kilometers an hour the whole way. That's 65 miles an hour for you Americans. Yeah, that's that number would actually come down a little bit if I cruised at 100 instead of 110. But even at 110 here, everyone passes you. But that's the final number, 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers. Let's compare it now with the Crosstrek. Okay, guys, now I'm in my Crosstrek Wilderness. I'm at the same gas station I just filled up. I'm going to start the car. And let me reset the trip computer here. Reset the trip to 0. And we are there. We are zeroed in. The car says I can go 800 kilometers before the next fill. Different size gas tanks in this car. This has a slightly smaller gas tank. Let's drive the same road again and check the stats when I'm done. Here I go. I've got the same climate control settings as I had in the Outback, and a little difference here is the Crosstrek has 2 drive modes, S and I. I have selected I, which is its most fuel efficient mode, okay? And it's on a similar day, dry road conditions. There's no wind, temperature's about the same. So this should be a pretty good test. Just getting onto the highway now. We are setting the cruise control to 110. And we will let the car do the rest. Okay guys, I just pulled in. The engine's still running. Let's check the numbers here for the Crosstrek. You can see we have done 143.4 kilometers and we've averaged 8.3 liters per 100 kilometers. The car can go another 550 kilometers, it tells us. 8.3 liters per 100 kilometers. Are you surprised? That's worse gas mileage than the Outback. How many of you are surprised by that result? The Outback got better gas mileage than the Crosstrek, contrary to what's even advertised by Subaru. And I fully disclosed that the test was equal in every way. Full gas tank from the same gas station, same 143 kilometers driven, air conditioning at 21 degrees on both vehicles, windows closed the whole time, similar road conditions, similar temperatures, windows, yeah, I said windows closed at all, aerodynamically exactly the same, weight of the vehicles, no added weight in them, no stuff in the trunk. Now, I'm not surprised by this result, guys, because the reason I've done this video is I've noticed this on other road trips. I've owned these vehicles for about a year, and I've done 400, 500, 600 kilometer road trips with them. And the Outback consistently gets better gas mileage on the highway than the Crosstrek. Now, let's talk about why is that the case. And one of the big factors is how you drive. And you notice that I pointed out when I was going through the Outback, how I was driving the Outback, not accelerating a lot, putting it into eco mode. Okay, that's a big factor. Well, guys, let's put our scientist caps on right now and think about what are the factors that affect fuel economy. There's many factors, but the 2 main ones are mass and acceleration, governed by the formula F equals ma. So if you want to accelerate a certain mass, you need a certain force to be able to do that. If you double the mass and you want to accelerate at the same rate, you need twice the force. If you want to accelerate that mass at double the acceleration, you need twice the force. That's the relationship, F equals ma. And your engine provides the F by burning fuel. Simple. Well, you can't really change the mass of your car other than not adding extra mass into it and driving it around. But you can control the acceleration. And it's a 1-to-1 relationship. If you accelerate twice as fast, you will require twice as much force to achieve that. And your engine has to provide that twice as much force and will burn a lot more fuel to be able to do that. Now let's talk about these 2 vehicles and how the cars provide the force and how much mass they have. Well, the Crosstrek is slightly less mass, a factor that goes in its favor. But they have 2 different engines. The Crosstrek has a 2.5 liter normally aspirated engine that achieves top torque and horsepower at a fairly high RPM. The Outback Wilderness has a slightly smaller engine, a 2.4 liter turbocharged engine that achieves much higher torque and horsepower at a much lower RPM. They call it a low torque transmission in the Outback. It achieves full torque at 1500 RPM. The Crosstrek achieves full torque at something like 4,800 RPM. It seems that the Outback, when you're cruising, is able to just stick in that 1,500 RPM range and maintain that speed easily, more efficiently than the Crosstrek. Now, some of you are already questioning me saying, hey, wait a minute, when you're cruising on the highway, you're not accelerating, your formula doesn't work. We've proved Newton wrong. No, we haven't proved Newton wrong. You still need force to cruise at the highway because even though the car is not physically accelerating, right, it is not decelerating. What your car is trying to do when it's cruising on the highway, your engine is providing enough force to not let your car decelerate. A negative deceleration is an acceleration, basically. And what are the factors that are causing the car to decelerate? Well, there's two main ones. The friction of the tires on the ground, which is pretty much equal in the two cars, and air resistance. That's the big one. And in fact, when you're talking about highway speeds, the most important factor that is actually even more of a factor than the mass of the vehicle and the resistance of the tires is air resistance, wind resistance. And I will guarantee that if I redid this test and I traveled 120 kilometers an hour, both cars would have much worse numbers. And if I drove this same 142 kilometers at 90 kilometers an hour, I would get much better gas mileage for both cars. Now, the two cars have very similar frontal profiles, so I don't think the wind resistance is that different between the two of them. Now, the interesting thing is, if you are an aggressive driver and you drive this same course, and every time you pull up behind someone that's going slower than you, you want to pass them, and you step on that gas pedal and you accelerate to go by them, boom. The Outback does that, has more horsepower, and if you step on that pedal, the turbocharger kicks in and you can pass someone easily. The Outback has more power, more horsepower, and more torque, and it can do that. And if you do that a lot, if you accelerate and step on that gas to pass people frequently during a trip like this, the Outback will have worse gas mileage than the Crosstrek. In this particular comparison that I did, I put both cars in cruise control, and I was a very, how should I say, a non-aggressive driver. I just cruised, and when I got behind someone that was going a little bit slower, I just checked my rearview mirror till there was no one coming, and I pulled out and slowly passed them without accelerating to 150 for 2 or 3 seconds to pass someone. I let the car just cruise. I didn't engage the acceleration very much. And the acceleration is what kills your gas mileage. As a matter of fact, if we do another video and we do a test on city driving, when you're at city driving speeds, generally bumper to bumper, stop and go, not going more than 30, 40, 50 kilometers an hour, then friction of the tires and wind resistance is almost negligible. And the most important two factors are mass and acceleration, the most important one being acceleration. If we do a video about city driving and I use the same car and I drive for an hour in the city like an old woman, when the light turns green, just slowly speeding up to get back up to 40, 50 kilometers an hour, I take 7, 8 seconds. And I do the same thing, drive for an hour, and whenever the light turns green, I slam on that accelerator and I speed up to 30, 40, 50 kilometers an hour in 2 seconds, right? Stop, stop. If I drive very aggressively, if I do that test, and maybe we'll do that video, I can guarantee that the fuel efficiency comparison would be night and day. I would almost guess that I would use twice as much fuel if I consistently accelerate twice as hard. Now, why would I say that? Oh, well, maybe it has something to do with Newton's equation. Eh? If I want to accelerate twice as fast, the car needs twice the force. And if the engine needs to provide twice the force, maybe it's going to use twice the fuel. Maybe we'll do a video about that. But anyway, are you shocked? Is anyone shocked at these results? This is a shocking result, isn't it? Because I know some people make the decision to buy the smaller vehicle, the Crosstrek or the Forester, and their main reason is, well, I want a more fuel-efficient vehicle. And I've just shown you that the Outback can have better fuel efficiency on the highway if you drive it not very aggressively, and you have that backup power in case you need to In case like there's a situation where you need to step on that accelerator and you want to be able to pass that semi-truck in 2 seconds, you can do that with the Outback better than you can with the Crosstrek. But if you're just cruising and you're just going 1,000 kilometers on a road trip, you're going to get better mileage with the Outback, as I've just shown you. Now let me close with an anecdote here, guys, that might surprise you. The answer might surprise you, and I'm going to ask you to listen carefully to the numbers because this is a mathematical problem that I need you to solve, okay? Let's just hypothetically do this thought experiment. I'm on a road trip. I'm here and there's a car right beside me. Car passes me, okay? That's the starting point. He passes me, he's going much faster than me. He's going 130 kilometers an hour. 130 kilometers an hour, shoom. He passes me on the highway. We're both on a long road trip on the same road. I'm driving 100 kilometers an hour. I'm driving along at 100 kilometers an hour. And time goes by, I'm listening to the tunes. Oh, lots of time goes by. It's, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. You know, we're just driving around. He's out of my sight. He's way up there. He's making good time. I'm just cruising at 100. Well, eventually down the road, way down the highway, there's some construction. That guy gets there before me, and you know, one of those guys with the vests comes out and goes, waves the stop sign. He goes, wait, stop, construction ahead. You're gonna have to stop here. He stops on the highway. He's like, oh damn, I have to stop at the construction. All right, I'll just wait here. And he's waiting to get by. I'm cruising at 100. Eventually I get there. The moment I catch up and pull up behind him, and now we're both waiting for that construction person to turn the stop sign and to go slowly so that we can continue on our journey. The moment that I arrive behind him, who has had the faster average speed for that journey? Which one of us has traveled at a faster average speed? The moment I just pull up right behind him. And I'm going to tell you the answer. You guys know the answer? The same. We have both traveled at an average speed of 100 kilometers an hour the minute I pull up behind him. How do you know his average speed was 100 kilometers? I mean, you don't know how long he's been waiting there. It doesn't matter. Okay? You put it into, trust me, you put it into the formulas. We've both traveled the same distance. We've both started at the same time. And the time that I arrive at his rear bumper, the experiment is over. We've both traveled the same amount of time, the same distance. The moment I pull up behind him, and I've been traveling that whole time at 100 kilometers an hour, I know that my average speed was 100 kilometers an hour. His average speed is also 100 kilometers an hour, but he's traveled the majority of the distance at 130, and then he's stopped for 5 or 10 minutes until I catch up. So he's done the majority of his distance at 130 average, and then a small portion of time. No, I said that wrong. I said, okay, we have to think this like scientists. He has traveled the majority of the time of his journey at 130 kilometers an hour, and then he has spent a smaller portion of time of his journey at 0 kilometers an hour. His average speed is the same as mine, 100 kilometers an hour, but because he's traveled the majority of the time at 130 and fought that wind resistance at 130 instead of 100, he's probably used much more fuel than I have. You guys follow that? He's burned, whoa, he's burning fuel like a motherfucker. Guaranteed. You look at our fuel economy, once I arrive at the same spot he arrives, I've burned much less fuel. You like that anecdote? Some of you that like to speed, you want to use less fuel? The main thing is don't accelerate so hard and lower your speed. And the Outback Wilderness wins. This, that's the Crosstrek. You're the loser. He lost. He lost. Therefore, he sucks. Some of you from my other channel might understand that. That's a different meme. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you were surprised by the results of this. And, Subaru Outback wins again. It's better in every way. The Outback is better in every way compared to the Crosstrek or the Forester. In every way, other than price. It costs more. But you get what you pay for, right? Leave some comments, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.